In 24 hours and 20 minutes, Ravens football was back. Purple Rain
Woo.
Podcast, 255. Let's go. Yes. This time tomorrow, we will be gearing up to watch the Baltimore Ravens play some preseason football. We have made it through the dead of the offseason, and we are indeed back. Welcome back to episode 255 of the Purple Rain Podcast. The Cedric Clark, J.R. Johnson, Jamie Sharper, but come on now. Jamie Sharper was a hell of a player, but Terrell Suggs, number 55
Dizzle.
episode
Talk to
of the Purple Rain Podcast. Future Hall of Famer, without a doubt, first ballot. Don't even think twice about it. Give him the gold jacket. Give him the bus in Canton.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you all for coming through this episode, this preview episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. You can follow this guy over here on X, on Instagram at Sutton Def. Follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on Twitter at simplyas10. And most importantly, your sponsor, Manscaped. You can go in there, get yourself something nice, get yourself something to treat yourself, treat somebody else in your life. I'll use code PRP. It's 20% off your whole order and free international shipping. That's how we look so good, as always. But
I was about to say, how do y'all think Alex looks so clean? Why do y'all think Alex comes on these streams looking so clean? Look at him. Just let's just admire it for a second.
Thank
Beautiful.
You. I'm blushing.
Gorgeous.
I'm blushing. I'm blushing. The many of hairstyles, but I think this one's here to stay. But yeah, thank you very much. But it is Thursday. It's Friday Eve, and like I said, tomorrow's Ravens football. So how was your week? I think it'll be pretty good with Ravens football being back.
Oh, absolutely. Week's been going really well, Alex, to be honest with you. Like you said, Ravens football is right around the corner. It's not even right around the corner. It's literally here. I can't wait personally to talk about who I'm excited to see in this preseason game coming up tomorrow. I've been thinking about it all day today, especially. So I mean, let's go ahead and see who's here in the live chat before we get into it, because I'm just kind of like dying to talk Ravens football right now. So let's see who's here, who we got in the house. Mod Roosh is in the house. Mod K Dog is in the house as well. Shout out to you guys. Mod Roosh says who we getting. Simply AS10, Nate Wiggins. Mod Boz, that is, says hello Rain Gang, loving that title. Yeah, I know you're happy about that. Brandon Aiyuk to the Steelers. I mean, it's not official yet, but we're going to talk about it later. We're going to talk about all the implications of that. It's going to be good. Zico Kage is in the house, says, yo, what's good, Purple Rain? Listen, if you're live in the chat right now, go ahead and sound off. Let us know. We're going to bring you up on screen. We gotta see who's in here. We got 91 people watching 3 minutes into the episode. That's how you know football season is back. Hello, welcome to the Purple Rain Podcast. Lisa Ann is in the house, says, hey, Alex and Sutton, we're taking Philly down tomorrow night. I know that's right, Lisa. I love the energy. We got Quoney in the house as well, says, what's up, Rain Gang? Yes, sir. What's going on? Appreciate all of y'all for coming through. Make sure you sound off in the chat if you are here watching live. Make sure you like the video as well. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way, guys. Like the video. You know, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. We got over 100 people watching right now. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. And if you like the video, maybe consider liking the video, right? It helps us out a ton, you know, and it helps us bring you more content, which we have a lot more in store for you guys for this upcoming football season. Let's see. We got Dre in the house as well. Says, what's up, Purple Rain Gang? LOL. I hope Brandon Aiyuk stays away from the North. Me too, honestly. But I think it just further solidifies the North as being the best division in football. Like it's just hands down. There's no debate. No debate. This is my guy right here, though. The Don is in the house. Says Alex and Sutton. What's up, guys? What's going on, Don? Appreciate you for coming through. Okay, let's go ahead and get into some Ravens talk, shall we, Alex? Right?
Why not? There's so much news. Like the amount of news we've had since we went live on Monday is enough to get us through a full month in the offseason. Like after the draft, before players report, that right there, we could have made a whole week out of news. But this right here, we got to talk about all of it that happened. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So training camp, we can go ahead and lead with that. That's been kind of like a common theme that we've been talking about for the past couple of episodes, because that's the main thing that's been going on at the castle is training camp. So in the past couple of days, we've had some news come out of the castle, and one thing that I wanted to go ahead and bring up on screen for you guys, share some tweets from our good friend Kyle P. Barber, one of the Ravens' many great beat writers. Want to
Fantastic.
show you, yeah, fantastic. Just want to show you one of the tweets that he had posted the other day. If you can bear with me for a second,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
go ahead, bring this up on screen.
Mm,
All right. So,
mm,
um, so he says here he thinks that Charlie Collar, Tylan Wallace, Lamar Jackson, they all had sharp practices. During the 7v7 red zone drills, Lamar completed 4 straight touchdowns, and his fifth pass was downed at the 1 yard line. Charlie Collar and Tylan Wallace both frequently were involved in the passing game. Again, so this is another example of I think Lamar Jackson targeting certain guys per practice. Just kind of making sure like he's got chemistry with you remember the other day he was going to Bateman a lot. And then the other day he was going to
mm.
Likely, and then I think it was somebody else before that. I can't remember the exact guy, but that was a couple days ago. I think it was last week sometime. The days are all kind of blending together. I'm just ready for football to be back officially. But this excites me though. You talk a lot about a guy like Charlie Collar, Alex. Like, what do you make of all this?
This is good for Charlie Collar. You really hadn't heard of him much. I feel like I heard more of Kadir Ismail at the tight end position than I had Charlie
Yeah,
Collar. Um, and then that was really spotlighted last night on the Wired, which is fantastic. All 50 minutes was amazing. I don't know if you've watched Ravens Wired last night. It felt like Hard Knocks for the Ravens. It was Hard Knocks without
yeah,
the whole buzz of like an HBO Hard Knocks comes with, and it was fantastically put together. And seeing that, I mean, but going back to this tweet, this is fantastic for Charlie Collar and for Tylan Wallace. I think he's had a very strong camp from everything that we've seen and heard. And it kind of just makes me kind of scratch my head with these wide receiver signings because to me, Tylan Wallace has done everything he could to maybe earn a
yeah.
spot to be that fifth receiver and to get more snaps at wide receiver, when the time
Right.
comes. But this is great to hear. Lamar Jackson, look, it sounds like he's back on fire, just throwing darts and just looking good again. So, and he's
Yeah,
spreading the wealth around as well, which is a really big thing for me. But yeah, I mean, it's all good news going into our first preseason game.
yeah. By the way, shout out to everybody watching on X right now. If you are watching on X, shout
You
out
see
to
that right
you.
there. 172.
Appreciate you for coming through. Mod Boz in the house says, can't wait for AFC North in season Hard Knocks. Yeah, that is going to be absolutely spectacular. It's going to be a spectacle. I think it's going to be the best Hard Knocks in a long time, especially being mid season. And by the time they started, what month are they supposed to be starting that again?
It's gonna. I expect week one if it's gonna be in season AFC
No,
North.
I
It's
I thought it was like I thought it was supposed to be like later in the season. I thought
oh, you're right.
that's what they
You're
were
right.
saying. Yeah,
I think mid season you were talking about. I remember you brought that
yeah.
up one episode.
That and that's smart because that's going to be right before the Ravens have their 2 matchups against the Steelers because we play them in the back half of the season, and the whole playoff race in that division is going to be heating up around that time. So can you imagine the locker rooms, the front
Right.
offices, like just the exchanges, the interactions? Like they might start getting chippy with the camera crew. To be honest with you, those guys are going to be on edge, around that time of year. So it's going to be interesting to see. Boz, I can't wait. I agree with you there.
And
Yeah,
what a big storyline will be when it comes Ravens Steelers time. It's going to be a whole segment. What's going on, Cam? The whole segment is going to be about Patrick Queen going to the Steelers. 100%. There's going to be that'll be a kind of a big thing themed around the game. I'd love to see the reactions from the Ravens players and the Steelers players leading up to that game. But
yeah,
that will be very fun. And Boss says the Steelers play the entire AFC North 2 times within an 8-week span.
yeah.
Their back, I forgot. Their back half of the schedule is hell. The Steelers, Chiefs,
Brutal.
Eagles, AFC North. Good luck, Charlie.
Yeah. Um, okay. So like we don't want to spend too much time talking about training camp because it's been kind of like some similar news coming out of there. Certain guys are doing well, and then the next day they're struggling, and then the next day they're doing well again. But Alex, what were some other things that you heard that kind of stuck out to you from the past couple of days of training camp?
Yeah. So like always, since I'm not able to be there, I pulled up the BaltimoreRavens.com and they kind of give you the little rundown.
Right.
But I have to talk about our 1 and 2. Our Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers connected for 2 gains of at least 15 yards. The second came on a perfect throw to Flowers in the back of the end zone.
Yep.
And that catch, I believe, was on Marlon Humphrey. The same Marlon Humphrey who it feels like has had Lamar Jackson's number the whole training camp. Not a surprise when Lamar is there, all these practices with Zay Flowers, his number one receiver. They're connecting. I am so excited to see Zay Flowers this year. I haven't felt this good about a receiver in a while, just kind of from what we saw from him last year. And we've talked about the amount of yards we think he was stripped of.
Yeah.
And targets went down as there was blowouts. There was a 70-yard touchdown taken off the board. I'm just really excited to see him. And then as well, they're talking about Pepe Williams. He had a pick off of Devin Leary, and that's going to come into handy because Arthur Mlet's out for, I'm going to say, the first month of the season. So the first 4
Mm.
weeks, and it could be more. Not season ending. But Pepe Williams, it's your time. Jalen Armour Davis, it's your
Yeah, that's
time.
huge.
Guys like
That's
that.
huge for those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so thankfully, cornerback is our most stacked room. But I know what the Ravens love to do on defense. Stephon Gilmore's out there still. And to a point, that really wouldn't surprise me if we went out there and got him. But yeah, it's the guys that are making a name for themselves, and Zay Flowers is really impressing me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so some other news that we got out of the castle earlier this week. There was a little interview. I think it was done
Mhm.
by CBS actually, where they interviewed our guy Lamar Jackson, our QB1, our two-time MVP. Shout out to everybody who's watching live right now. 290 people watching live. Shout out to all of you guys. Welcome to the Purple Rain podcast. If you're watching over on X, maybe consider coming over to YouTube, hitting that subscribe button. We'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go ahead and bring this up for you guys, get out of you guys' way and let Lamar Jackson talk about slimming down, right? So this is something that we've heard about going into like the off season, right? And you know, kind of the speculation was, at least for me, I can speak for myself when I say that in that AFC Championship game, he could have been faster. He could have taken off a few times, you know. There was the play where, and Alex, correct me if you think I'm wrong here. There was the play where he catches his own pass, you know, that famous play that won him that SB or whatever, and you know, he kind of gets clipped up by the, you know, the back of his heels. Some people say he could have broke away there, but he, you know, they kind of had him, I would say, on that one. But the one where he breaks it up the middle on the QB keep and he gets caught by L'Jarius Sneed because he's like constantly like looking over his shoulder to make sure he's not too close. That's one that I think Lamar wishes he could have back. And that is why I think he says what he says here in this little clip. I'll go ahead and play it for you right now, Alex. Let's see.
2 years ago, you
I was fat to me. I felt like I was fat. I just saw a video from 2 years ago, the Browns, and I looked at like out of shape.
yeah.
But
What
I
like
was in shape.
you watched and you run? Like, did you feel slower? Did you think that you look slower?
Oh, my eyes might be deceiving me, but I believe I looked a little slower to me, but not now.
Why did you decide to slim down? Was it simply for the speed element?
Just so I can move around without getting fatigued. That's all. I don't know if I was getting fatigued last year. Probably if I get a first down, but I don't like getting caught if I do decide to run. So, yeah, it's part of it.
You know, we get a little slower as we age. You don't think it has anything to do with
No,
age?
not at all. No, I'm only 27. I'm still young. Definitely don't have anything to do with age.
You've slimmed down 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it's funny he
Yeah.
brings it up because 2 years ago he said he was fat, but I think about a certain run against the Dolphins in the game that we did below a 28-point lead where he outran their whole defense up the middle. Xavier Howard had no chance of getting him, and he called himself fat there. You know, that's really interesting to me. And hearing that he doesn't like to get caught, I mean, we kind of all figured that, but you do bring up a
Right.
great point last year. I was going to say we saw him take the same touchdown against the Chiefs that he could have had against the Dolphins, like I was bringing up. So him going to slimming down, it goes to show you how much he loves his speed. And I don't blame him.
Yeah, and even furthermore, I think it makes sense for him to slim down, especially when you bring in a Derrick Henry who's going to be taking more of the more of the volume when it comes to the carries. You know, so I when you do unleash Lamar Jackson's legs by design, right? If you're Todd Monken, you would want him to be a little bit slimmer because you want him when he takes that ball to be the lightning to Derrick Henry's thunder. You know, and I know I talk about that analogy all the time, but it makes a whole lot of sense. You know, like you have a big like a bruiser in a Derrick Henry who like he's going to scare the defense in such a way where like they have to prepare to stop a bruiser like Derrick Henry, right? Yeah, he's got the top end speed once he gets to, you know, that acceleration, you know, a couple yards down the field once he breaks up to the second level. But with Lamar Jackson, it's like it's that electric speed. You know, it's like a Tesla. Have you ever seen it? Have you ever driven a Tesla, Alex? Have you ever seen a Tesla like just take off, go from 0 to 60?
I saw one
It's
total last week on the side of the road. But yeah.
yikes. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's I've driven one a few times and I've seen them take off. It's instant, right? It's instant. It's not like, like a regular gas car where the engine's got to combust the gas and all that whatnot. It takes time. No, it's in an instant. That's what Lamar Jackson is when he is like around this size. You can think back to like the 2019 season or the 2020 season, like burning guys, like leaving guys in the dust. I have no doubt in my mind that if Lamar Jackson slims down, guys like L'Jarius Sneed or any DB, they are not catching him. They're not catching him. Sit to Tally Films, Coach Evans, he says this all the time. If the receiver's even, he's leaving. And basically what that means is like when a receiver is running a route, like say he's running a go route and he gets even with the DB, that means he's about to stack that receiver. He's open, basically. Throw him the ball. He's got a chance. And Lamar Jackson, he's the same way. When he gets even with a guy, he's pulling ahead most times. So I think that he realizes that kind of shedding some of the body fat, getting his body fat percentage down a little bit more is going to get him a little bit quicker. That's going to aid his game. So I'm excited to hear that. What do you think though?
And I'm going to add on to that because going back to training camp, just real quick, as Lamar Jackson ran out of trouble down the right sideline, outside linebacker Odafe Owe wasn't far behind, giving him chase. Owe was moving fast but couldn't catch Jackson. Jackson ran out of bounds for a 10-yard gain. Right there. What was the big thing people talked about Owe coming out of college?
Speed.
Exactly. He was the defensive DK Metcalf with how physically gifted he was and how built he was and how fast he was. He's not catching Lamar Jackson, and he's big. He could go out reach for him. Couldn't get him. Not many guys are as fast as Owe on the edge. That's a really good sign.
Owe's catching every other quarterback though. That's the thing. Every other quarterback, he's running them down. Like that's what he does.
Yep. We've seen it.
We've seen it quite literally. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and bring up. You had something else for me? What's going on?
No. I was just thinking about some plays that Owe last year who we caught up to, and you just.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Hopefully he can get some sacks this year. That's what I'm waiting for. Shout out to everybody watching live. We got 383 people watching live right now. Shout out to all you guys. Welcome to the Purple Rain podcast season right around the corner. Again, we are on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube at the Purple Rain podcast. Hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying the content you are currently consuming. All right, let's go ahead and pull this up here. John Harbaugh, Russell Gage, a signing from the Ravens, right? Signing a receiver. Okay, let's everybody just take a deep breath really quick because this is something that I did not expect.
Yeah.
Right. This late in the off season. Let me just go ahead and read the quote by John Harbaugh, and I want to get your reaction. We'll bring up some of his stats on screen so you guys can get like some contextual, information here. So John Harbaugh said Russell Gage is a proven veteran wide receiver with good hands and good size. Quote, it was an opportunity for us, really, unquote. Okay. Alex, what was your initial reaction when you found out that the Ravens signed Russell Gage?
I was definitely surprised. Wasn't expecting it. I didn't know he even brought him in. I know we brought in Anthony Miller. I know he was in for tryouts. And there was somebody else, the LSU undrafted receiver. I don't hate it. I'll tell you that. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I understand why we did it. And I understand why we signed Anthony Miller real quick. I mean, he was out all last year with the season-ending eye word. Years prior, I'm not gonna lie. I pulled up the stats. It honestly wasn't bad. 2022 with Tampa, 50 catches, 400. How's it going, Cal? 50 catches, 426 yards. 2021, this is with the Falcons now. 66 catches, 770 yards. 2020, 786 yards and 72 catches. 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns. Chain mover, taller guy, physical, like Jeremiah said, can high point. It's a very Ravens signing. That's really what it is. It's not CeeDee Lamb. It's not Brandon Aiyuk. It's Russell Gage. There's potential there, but we'll probably get 400 yards out of him if he makes the team. So that's really my analysis of it.
Yeah, and I it makes me wonder. I put out a YouTube short about it yesterday, I think, when it happened. I was saying to the audience, I was saying like, where did we where did we surmise that we needed a wide receiver 5 or a wide
Right.
receiver 6 on this team? You mentioned earlier in the episode Tylan Wallace as a guy who we think has earned his kept on this Ravens roster, in more than one way, and I think he deserves his opportunity at wide receiver. Now, I don't know if it's something that the coaches, that is, I don't know if it's necessarily something that they see in training camp or something that they see in the practices during the season that doesn't warrant him being able to see the field as much as a wide receiver. I don't know if it's just the fact that Todd Monken has a hierarchy on, how he wants to run his offense. Of course, we're always going to be run first as the Ravens. We have Lamar Jackson, a rushing quarterback. We have one of the best running backs in the league. We're always going to be rush first, pass second. And when it comes to the passing game, he's so far down the totem pole. But I just don't necessarily understand allocating resources to multiple, because there's multiple. We're going to talk about another one here soon of a multiple wide receivers on this roster. But let me tell you what it really says to me. What it really says to me when they make moves like this is that they are concerned about Rashad Bateman. I think they're concerned. I think that because I think there's no coincidence that, Bateman gets a little banged up, and then all of a sudden, a few days later, we're signing receiver after receiver, quite literally. Like, I just don't think it's a coincidence. I think that if that hadn't happened, maybe the Ravens go in a different direction and get depth maybe in the edge rushing group, or maybe I wouldn't have minded if they went for another DB or maybe somebody for the O line. We were looking at a Connor Williams, and obviously he went to Seattle. We'll talk about that too. But I just didn't. I don't really understand this move outside of, hey, we're concerned about Rashad Bateman. What do you think about that?
I get that. I understand it. I took these two signings as we're going to be sitting Zay, Bate, and Aguilar the 3 preseason games, and now we need bodies. Tez Walker will play, Tylan Wallace will play, Dayton Wade will play. Who are other receivers? At Malik Cunningham, there's 4. We usually go in with 5 or 6 receivers, so I took it as guys that need to play. And you bring up a good point. Bateman hasn't practiced. He didn't practice the past 2 days, I'm pretty sure. Came down on the ball. I don't think it's that big of an I word. I think it was just bruising. So if we get to next week, which I believe we go to Green Bay for the joint practices, and he's not practicing, then yeah, I do have a little bit of a worry. But as of right now, no, I just feel like it's bodies, because we can't go out there with 4 receivers in a preseason game, and they don't want these guys to be running, all up and down and getting fatigued in the first preseason game. But that's a good point you bring up. So if we come to next week and he's not practicing, then yeah, it's because of him. I don't think it is right now.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that's fair. I mean, like I was saying on Monday's episode, like Rashad Bateman, and they say he fell on the ball. Rashad Bateman is not like the most built guy. You know what I mean? He kind of got a little bit more of a wiry frame compared to some of the other kind of bigger body wide receivers. And maybe the Ravens have some concerns about that, especially if Rashad Bateman is going to be replacing the void targets from Odell Beckham Jr., right? Like, if he's going to be more of a weapon, uh, he's going to get hit more. He's going to be hitting the ground more. So maybe they're trying to get some Rashad Bateman insurance. Maybe that's what it really is. But we'll see. We'll see. Meanwhile, we do have a super chat donation. This one's coming in from the Don. What's going on, Don? Dropping the 10-piece in the chat, making it rain here on this episode 255 of the Purple Rain podcast. He says, I'm glad Engraven suggested in his live stream that I was watching that you guys should maybe do a podcast together. Proud of you guys. I can't wait to see what's next. Which podcast was that?
Thank you,
Which
Don,
live stream
first and
was?
foremost.
Which live stream was that?
Yeah,
Don?
let us. Yeah, we'll have to get him on for the season. With the season coming around, it's a lot more opportunities to do a lot more collabs.
For sure.
Previewing, which we have to do. Well, we always say it, but we definitely have to get them going, because love hearing other people's perspectives and opinions. We all watch the same game, and you get to hear just different opinions, which is the best part about sports. But yeah, Don, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, Don. Yeah, making it rain here. Don C from deep. That's right, Boz. Pulling up from deep. Shout out to him. Shout out to all the super chat donators. We appreciate you guys. True Purple Rain pioneers. We appreciate it. Okay, let's go ahead and get to. And Dre says that would be a fire collab. Yeah, that would be nice. We've gone on with Engraven a couple times. We've had him on the show. What like 2-3 times in the past couple of seasons or something like that. But yeah, we got to get him back on.
Yeah.
Boss saying here we got to have Ravens talk with Yolanda on. Yeah, we do. I know Yolanda started her own thing. She's been watching for a long time. Would love to have her on. Let her say her piece. I mean, I would love to hear that for sure. Okay. Yeah, we got to set up like a schedule, Alex. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, real quick, while we have John Harbaugh on the screen, did you see the wet ball drill? And you saw John Harbaugh do?
Yeah, I saw it. What?
All right, we're good.
Okay. What about the wet ball drill?
Oh, it was just John Harbaugh doing it, and he hurt himself. That was all.
Oh, he hurt himself? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ian Rappaport tweeted Harbaugh hurt his shoulder while doing the wet ball drill. I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, damn.
He's good.
I mean, okay, hopefully he is good. He's a little too old to be diving for. You know what I think? Does he do that every year? Do you know?
No, just this year.
You know what it is? You know what that is?
What
know what it is, Alex. I shouldn't have to say it. You should know it. Chat knows it. Chat, look. The only reason why John Harbaugh is trying to mix it up with his players and be a players coach more than ever is because his brother is back in the league.
Yeah.
And he knows that's exactly what he's doing over in LA right now. He's mixing it up with the players. If you watch any of the training camp footage from the Chargers, he's really in there with the players. Like he's blocking, he's doing drills and whatnot. And of course, John sees all that. So he's got to prove to his brother, like his little brother, he's got to prove that, like, hey, look, like I'm a man for the people too. I'm a man for the players as well. So I think that's exactly why John is kind of showing out in the fashion that he is. But that's funny though. That's funny you bring that up.
Yeah, it was just funny. I thought it was, and but yeah, I just saw that go out. But yeah, so moving on to our receivers as well. Anthony Miller, signed him today. This one's a lot different to me. I feel pretty strongly about this.
Yeah.
This right here is we just need somebody. He has not played an NFL game, regular season, since 2021. Can I put that in perspective for you guys? Devonta Freeman was our starting running back when he last played in the game.
Yeah, that was a minute ago.
Yeah.
He's been banged up. He had a shoulder, right? And then did he have a knee? I think that was Russell Gage had a knee, non-contact knee.
Yes,
last year. Yeah, but I know he had a shoulder. He was dealing with that. I can't remember what he had. It's in this article. I was reading it, I think. Anthony Miller, he's 29, 12 touchdowns in his career, most recently with the Chiefs. Had a couple 400-yard seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, he was released. He was released before last season began. That's what it was. Yeah, they just let him go.
Yep. So it's been a while, and this just screams maybe you can make your way on the practice squad. Hoping for the best with him. I know the Niners picked him up, and then the Steelers got him, and he didn't make their roster, and now he's here bouncing around from team to team. So I guess we'll see him tomorrow if he plays. I'm not too sure how quick he can learn the playbook. But yeah, I mean, camp bodies, it'll be Josh Johnson to Russell Gage. So that'll be fun to watch tomorrow night at a rainy M&T Bank Stadium, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is it supposed to rain? I didn't know.
I believe, yeah, last time I checked, it was about 85% chance to rain during the game.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, Anthony Miller, again, I think that, of course, they are camp bodies, like you were saying, but don't be surprised if, these guys are playing on Sundays, or at least in the lineup on Sundays. I wouldn't be shocked, especially with the whole Rashad Bateman situation. I just don't know how they really feel about Bate,
right?
To be honest with you, and I guess we'll see. Only time will tell. But interesting stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this preseason game that we've got coming up, right, against the Philadelphia Eagles. let's talk about who we really want to see in this upcoming preseason game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Who are we most excited to watch? Alex, we'll start with you. And of course, if you are in the chat right now, drop who you are most excited to see from the Ravens against the Eagles tomorrow night. Is it a rookie? Is it a practice squad guy who's probably going to get some burn? Who is it? Let us know down in the chat. And if you're not watching this episode of the Purple Rain podcast live and you're part of the hashtag replay gang, thank you so much for joining this episode. And listen, if you're on X right now, come over to YouTube, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the like button, do what you got to do. We'd appreciate that. But we do love that you're watching on X right now. We appreciate you guys. So shout out to y'all. But Alex, let's start with you. Who are you excited to see most tomorrow night?
I'd be
Hey,
lying if I
Tanja.
didn't say Bo Brait. I'll be lying. But if I'm thinking about, offense and defense together, Dayton Wade's one of them. He's been getting
Mhm.
a lot of buzz, receiver, Ole Miss, UDFA. But it's got to be with the line. I want to see how this line looks. And that's kind of been the whole talk of the camp. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing maybe a Roger Rosengarten. I'm looking forward to seeing maybe how Daniel
Mm.
Falele looks, when he's going against other opposition at the guard. Ben Cleveland at center. It's just the line altogether. I can't put in just one name. I got to go with
Yeah.
the O line. I feel like you're the same with me.
Yeah, I was contemplating it earlier today, and I was gonna just say I was gonna be lazy and just say the entire O line, but like I kind of want to pick it out a little bit, like you did. Andrew Voorhees, he's a guy I'm looking at. Like you said, Rosengarten. Um, who was another one I was gonna be looking at? I mean, Ben Cleveland at center. I'm not really too gonna be too focused on that because I know he's not going to be playing center. Maybe he'll become a solid backup or something like that. But I don't think he's gonna play center long term. But um,
Yeah.
and then who is? Damn it, why is it slipping my mind right now? Oh yeah, like you said, Daniel Faalele as well. I want to see Daniel Faalele at right guard. I want to see what he does against live competition that aren't pulling any punches. So that's gonna be good. And then also I want to see, and let me know if you agree here. I want to see Tavius Robinson. I want to see Tavius
Yeah.
Robinson. I want to see if he can step up. Maybe they'll have him come off the edge a few times. Can you be a guy potentially, right? Can you potentially be a guy who we can kind of rotate in and out of the defensive scheme? You know, courtesy of Zach Orr. But what do you think about Tavius Robinson? Do you agree there?
I like him. Yeah, I think he's going to have a good year. I thought he set the edge very well. I know he had 1 sack last year, but
Hmm.
for a rookie, a mid-round pick, I thought he played kind of above what I was expecting. I thought he was in there for some crucial third downs, and it looks like the defensive staff trust him. And yeah, I mean, he's going to be learning more from Kyle Van Noy. He learned under Jadeveon Clowney, learning under
Yeah.
Chuck Smith, Dr. Rush, who I understand why our edge rushers were so good last year. When I hear, what's up on God? And yes, Bo Braid is the only answer. When I hear Chuck Smith talk about, you can be the strongest guy, but if you don't have moves, don't have the finesse, like you're not going to get back to the quarterback. And I see why we went from being a mid-tier sack team to leading the league. There's a lot
Yeah.
of fancy ways of saying Bo Braid is the only player that matters tomorrow. You know what? I hope he gets the whole second half because he's going to get a pick or going to light somebody up, and I need that in my life. I need
Yeah.
him to make it just for the Maryland point of view. But yeah, I like Tavius Robinson, and I'm looking forward to seeing him tomorrow. On the topic of edge rushers, dare I say, we see some David Ojabo tomorrow.
Yes, yes, that's another one I want to see. I want to see David Ajabo. I think it's kind of like make or break, is make or break for I think a lot of these guys are, they might not be getting second contracts. What year is David Ajabo? It's his third year, right? Yeah, this is year three. So I mean, now's the time to kind of step up and show, kind of set yourself apart from the competition on your own team. So we'll see what David Ajabo can do in the preseason. And then also, who was another one? Tez Walker. I want to see Tez Walker. I don't expect him to be out there all that much, but when he is out there, I want to see them intentionally go and target him, see what he does in a live game, because that's a guy who potentially could be, man, he could be a weapon. He could be a real weapon if utilized right. If you get the chemistry down with Lamar Jackson, I've been looking at a lot of Tez Walker footage this past week, and he could be, like you said, you thought he was going to be like a second round talent, right? Uh, I
Yeah.
definitely agree with you there. He should have been somewhere around there. I'm not really necessarily sure why he wasn't, but I think that he can prove a lot of doubters wrong. I know you said you don't want to fall for the trap again, Alex. I understand that. I understand it. I get it. But we've got a new offensive coordinator in Todd Monken who I don't think he has any problem with kind of getting guys involved. So I think it's definitely possible. What do you think about Tez Walker tomorrow, though?
You know, if we're not going to use him in the regular season, let him just ball in the preseason. I want to see half of him tomorrow. Give me a good half with him, with Josh Johnson, who's the quarterback who has the most pro experience. Obviously, he's been in the league like 20 years, been in every football league possible in the USA. But yeah, I want to see him a full half. I want to see, let him be physical, let him have a fade route, let him, a third and short, throw it up to him, a jump ball. I want to see he's that big for a reason. He's that physical for a reason. We saw what he did at UNC. The catches he made there, unreal. Let me see if it translates to the NFL. So I would love to see him for a whole half tomorrow. Please and thank you. I see Tom just says Owen Wright. Yes, running back that we had last year. Him and Rasheen Ali. It's going to be those two guys going all night. I don't want to see Justice Hill out there. I personally, I would like to see a drive or two of the starters. But I get it. John Harbaugh doesn't want them out there. That's fine. That's his choice. But I personally would like to see him. But since he's not going to play him, let me see Owen Wright and Rasheen Ali. Those two guys, fast as they come. One of them will break a big run tomorrow.
Yeah. I wish that we could see more starters in the preseason. It would make it a lot more enjoyable, that's for sure. But it's only the appetizer for the season. We know that. But I think the main reason that was kind of nixed a while ago by Sean Payton when he was still with New Orleans, when he didn't play any starters in the preseason one year and then started the regular season 8-0. So people kind of looked at that and said, well, maybe starters don't need to start playing in the preseason. So that's I think that's why we don't have it. It's just not as good anymore. But again, it's just the appetizer, right? It's the appetizer. By the way, speaking of football, football should be on right now, like live as we speak, right?
It is. It is want to have up the stream of the Giants and the Lions. The Lions are playing basically no starters on offense. Giants have Drew Lock and Malik Neighbors out for the first drive. They went 3 and out.
Interesting. Okay. Got you. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's going on, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to all 483 people watching live in this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 255. Make sure you like the video, whether you're on X, whether you're on YouTube. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are on YouTube as well, and then hit the little notification bell so that way you get notified anytime we go live or anytime we drop a video. Pretty useful. But yeah, what do you got?
So, is that all the Ravens talk we have?
I want to say,
I think we touched on everything. Preview, Millette, the signings, training camp.
Yeah,
I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we are a Raven stream, but more importantly, we're NFL fans. So we kind of be remiss to not talk about the biggest story right now in the NFL that isn't revolving around the team in Kansas City. And that is the Brandon Aiyuk sweepstakes. All right. And I, my friend, have a conspiracy theory. I love me a good conspiracy theory. I believe Aiyuk is already a Steeler. All right. I just believe they don't want a certain account on Twitter with a damn dog as the profile picture to be the one breaking the news. Because this guy, have you seen it on Twitter? The Ricky account? He's been on this news far and ahead of everybody else, calling it, saying Aiyuk will be a Steeler, giving the complete details. And then all the Rappaport comes out, Schefter comes out, Pelissero comes out saying, no, there's no deal. It's actually just the Patriots and the Browns in for Brandon Aiyuk. And now the Steelers are apparently back in it. The Patriots are out of it, and looks like the Browns are out of it. It literally is just like, I think Ayuk's already a Steeler at this point. I've accepted it. We're going to play another elite receiver in AFC North. Congratulations, Steelers. You have another number 1 receiver. Enjoy him. That is my conspiracy theory for the night.
Okay. I love it. Before I give my reaction to that, we do have a super chat donation. This one's coming in from Sean Coles, dropping the 5-piece in the chat, making it rain here on episode 255 of PRP. We appreciate you, brother. We really do. But that's interesting you say that. I mean, who benefits from the news leaking? You know what I mean? Or like why would the NFL or why would the Steelers or why would ESPN not want to announce it. You know what I mean? Like,
It just
I don't
was
think it's
weird how
done
they
yet.
all said
I
that
don't think the deal's done.
it may not be done, but it was weird that they say the Steelers were not in it, and now they're like the lead front. It just is very weird to me. And I'm rocking with the
Mm.
random Twitter account with a dog as the profile picture who's been getting it spot on. This has just been a really weird situation though. Like Aiyuk doesn't want to be there. McCaffrey's calling him his former teammate. Kyle Shanahan's deflecting every question. I mean, as he should as a coach. It's weird. Like just let it happen. Just send him to Pittsburgh at this point.
Yeah. I mean, if he does end up in Pittsburgh, I think it's all the more reason to start Justin Fields, man. Because I mean, you give him another receiver on top of a George Pickens, right, and the other weapons that they have on offense. You give him another receiver that can kind of be like a security blanket for him, and that's what Brandon Aiyuk is. I mean, I talked about it on Monday's episode. He's a good route runner. He finds soft spots and zones. He sits down in those soft spots, and he has good hands, great hands actually. He catches the football. So I mean, it's and again, I don't want to get too deep down the rabbit hole, the Justin Fields rabbit hole, but I think it's more the reason to start Justin Fields because you got to get the guy with potential. You got to get him reps, right? You have to get him ready to go, or else why did you sign him at all?
Yep.
Like, why bring him in as an insurance policy for Russell Wilson? Like, when you could have just put if you had any sort of trust in Justin Fields, right? And if you signed him, I assume you do. If you have any sort of trust in him, keep Justin Fields. Don't sign Russell Wilson, right? Keep Justin Fields and use that money that you would have allocated towards Russell Wilson and go out and build the offense or build the defense and get that better. I don't really understand. You know the saying, if you have two starting quarterbacks, you have no starting quarterbacks. I think that's kind of true in this scenario. There's going to be some I don't want to say tension in that locker room because it may not be in the locker room, but it's going to be in the building, right? It's going to be in the front office. It's going to be in the fan base, right? I don't think that Justin
Mhm.
Fields and Russell Wilson are going to be the types. They're not the types of guys to really be at odds and like have conflict with each other. But I mean, again, if I think they plan on starting Russell Wilson, if he goes out there and loses the first couple of games, like who do they play? Who's their first couple of games? The Steelers. What's their schedule look like?
You know what? I'll pull it out for us. I probably won't be quick enough because Boz let us know. But their first game is against the Falcons, week 1, Arthur Smith reunion, 1:00. And then they have the Broncos for obvious reasons. Chargers week 3, Colts week 4, Cowboys week 5. Not the hardest starting schedule, but there are some games in there I would keep my eye on, though. I mean, a lot of storylines behind the first 2 games. Who are these Chargers with Jim Harbaugh? Who are these Colts with Anthony Richardson? And who are the Cowboys with no running game? But if they start off, I say 1-4, then there's going to be a really, really big question mark going on there.
Yeah, man. Honestly, there would be some huge question marks if they go out there and they lose to Kirk Cousins. Jeez, man. Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons in week 1. And then in week 2, go and lose to, I don't know what, Bo Nix, whoever they decide to trot out there. Jeez, man. That would be brutal if they started that 0-2. They should start 2-0. They should start 2-0. Maybe 1-1 if Kirk has some juice. You know, if he wants to
Yeah.
start with some juice at home in Atlanta, I could see it. But they can definitely beat the Broncos. They can handle them even on the road. The Chargers is going to be a very interesting game. We're going to learn a lot about the Chargers literally by the possession, you know. But it's going to be if they start, hypothetically speaking, if they started 0-2 and Russell Wilson is responsible for that 0-2, then there's going to be a lot of talk before that Chargers game in week 3 whether or not they should start Justin Fields and just go the rest of the season before we dig ourselves in too deep of a hole. You know what I mean? And not to say that Russell Wilson is bad or anything like that, but I do think that he's kind of, in a way, old news. You know, you gotta usher in this new generation. I mean, Justin Fields, he should be the starting guy and have Russell Wilson backing him up. You know, I don't think Russell Wilson would have any problem with that. You know, is Russell Wilson. That's kind of the good thing about having Russ, I don't think that he would have an issue with that. Maybe he would. I don't know the guy personally, but
Yeah.
I don't know. He doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to stir up trouble. Sean Coles, thank you again for the 2-piece in the chat.
Thank
We
you,
appreciate that.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Coles. Appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, you look at what it does for having a vet as a backup.
Yeah.
Do the Browns make the playoffs with Joe Flacco as their quarterback? If he isn't there, absolutely not. They're not making it. They're not even sniffing the playoffs if they have some random backup. They're going to lose most of their games. But I want them to start Russell Wilson as a Ravens fan. But the smart move is Justin Fields.
Tanja Bowman says here, Sutton's rooting for the Justin Fields train again. Why are we helping the Steelers? Let them play
Come
Russ.
Come on now.
I know. I'm just speaking objectively here.
Yeah, as a football fan, not a Ravens fan.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, Justin Fields only has room to grow, I think, compared to Russ only has room to decline. So that's kind of where that's where I'm at with it. And I feel like who has the better connection with George Pickens right now? Everything I've seen out of Pittsburgh, it's been Justin Fields. They have been absolutely lethal on the slant routes. They've been lethal, I mean, in the red zone as well. They look like a good 1-2 quarterback wide receiver duo. But that's enough of us talking about the Steelers. I'm sorry. I know we're Ravens fans, but the whole Brandon Aiyuk stuff had to be talked about. But as preseason's coming up, I do want to talk about some things I'm looking at and some quarterbacks and some players I'm looking at.
Sure.
The top two picks are going to be starting. Caleb Williams is going to be playing, and so is Jaden Daniels. Cannot wait to see both of them play. Hopefully they look good and hopefully impress. The Chiefs, their starters are going to be playing, I think, 2 drives. The Bills are going to be playing their starters.
Yep.
So definitely some interesting stuff. As a neutral, I understand why people wouldn't want to watch the Ravens and Eagles game tomorrow, because what are you watching? You're not watching Lamar Jackson. You're not watching Derrick Henry. You're not watching Roquan Smith. Not watching Kyle Hamilton. Why are you watching?
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I can understand that. As a Ravens purist, right? Like most people probably watching this stream, yes, we will be watching all 4 quarters, making sure we know exactly who is who. Because, of course, we got to come back here on Monday and talk about it. But
I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait, bro. I cannot wait. We are so close. We are so close to football season, and I can almost taste it. Okay. But yeah, I mean, you said you're excited to see Caleb Williams, as am I. When it comes to the question of who do I think is going to be the best quarterback to come out of this last draft class, I mean, it feels almost cliche to say Caleb Williams, right? But I think I'm gonna have to go Caleb Williams because I cannot remember a time, Alex, where a number 1 overall pick, a quarterback for that matter, has gone to a situation more comfortable than the one that Caleb Williams is going into. I mean, we talked about it on the last episode. DeAndre Swift right there. You can hand the ball off to. Oh, you got to put the ball in the air. It's 3rd and 7. It's 3rd and 11, right? And you need one. Oh, you got DJ Moore. Oh, you got Keenan Allen. You got Rome Odunze. We don't even know what he's going to be yet, but 1st-round receiver. Like it's just I cannot remember the last time that there was a starting. Think about what Bryce Young was thrown into as the 1st overall pick.
Correct.
Last season. Nothing. Typically, the
Think about
top
Trevor
5
Lawrence.
picks. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, they had Christian Kirk, but you had Urban Meyer head coach, who I think everybody knew was never going to work. Joe Burrow got thrown in with basically Tyler Boyd. They drafted T. Higgins as well that year, but it was rookie question marks. Didn't really click it on until they got Jamar and he got hurt that year.
Yeah,
it's hard for a 1st rounder to be put in such a good situation. And you know what? The last I think 1st rounder, I'd say that was put in a really good situation. I mean, I'm gonna go back. I don't think Kyler was put in a good situation. They did get D-Hop though. That was good for him, but there were still question marks there. Cliff Kingsbury, that was a big question mark. What's really has shown is when the 1st rounders don't start the first couple of games and then they're let in, like a Lamar. Hell, like a Patrick Mahomes who sat out his whole 1st year and then played the last game as a backup, and they traded Alex Smith. I even think Josh Allen, I don't think he started every game as a rookie. I think Nathan Peterman was starting for the Bills in 2018.
Right.
If my memory recalls correctly. I'm just seeing all these 1st rounders. Quarterbacks hasn't been the hottest thing out.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. But the reason why I was saying Caleb Williams, Alex, is just because when I watch Caleb play, first of all, in college, didn't throw a lot of interceptions, not a lot of turnovers. That's awesome. right? But he looks like a baby Patrick Mahomes. He just does. And like his mechanics and everything. And I think that, the maturity is one thing. I don't know exactly where he is maturity wise, because one minute you hear he's like telling the guys to clean up the locker room after themselves. And then, but you can remember just last year he was crying in the stands after a game, and that may just be passion. The whole fingernail painting thing, all that.
I
You don't
can't
know where the
imagine.
guy's head is really at,
Yeah.
right? You don't know where the guy's head is really at. But I think that time will tell. But in terms of like the skills, like his hard skills, his football skills, I mean, the guy has it all. He's got the accuracy, he's got the deep ball, he can take the check downs. Sometimes he looks for the deep plays too much, the big plays too much. He's gonna have to get that coached out of him. He's gonna have some ugly moments. He's gonna have some interceptions early on. It's kind of like welcome to the league moments. But I think later in the season, because I think they have it. You know what? Let me look at the Bears schedule. I think their schedule is favorable too early in the season. Let me see. Show the the Rain Gang here. By the way, thank you guys all for coming out tonight. Over 500 people watching
Thank
live
you.
right now. Thank you so much for joining the Purple
Wowzers.
Rain podcast. We truly do appreciate you for
Wow.
coming through and hanging with us on this beautiful Thursday evening or whenever you may be listening to this if you're part of the hashtag replay gang. Okay, let me go ahead and pull this up for my beautiful friends here.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I mean, it's not the worst schedule in the world. I mean, obviously, you have the Lions who look pretty damn good, and the Packers as well. And the Vikings to me are a question mark. Start off with the Titans right now. They
Yeah,
might be without DeAndre Hopkins. Their starting right guard just literally retired. Then you go to the Texans who have been kind of crowned as one of the top AFC teams. Obviously, they were good last year, got knocked out by the Ravens, but when you trade for Diggs, make some really good signings defensively like they have, that's big. Colts, that'll be a good game. Rams will be interesting. Panthers, Jags, Commanders, Cards, Patriots. This isn't an awful
it's not a
schedule for
hard
them at all.
schedule. It's really not. You know, the back half of the season, I mean, you got the 49ers, you got the Packers, of course. The Packers, you kind of get, you know,
Yeah.
in what, couple weeks in between. It, it's going to be down the stretch. I think it'll be a little bit tougher for them. Lions twice, Packers twice, 49ers. It's going to be tough. But early on, I think they're trying to usher in Caleb Williams to the league softly, right? It's
Yeah.
like a soft launch of Caleb Williams
A
in the
soft
Bears.
launch.
Yes. Uh, that's quite literally what it is, Alex. So, yeah, I mean, the Steelers got the same thing. So we'll see. We'll see. But
They're
I'm
posting
excited to
mirror
see him.
pictures, and you can just see him in the background with his purse. You don't know who it is, but you can see somebody in the back there, and that's Caleb Williams.
Exactly. Yes, yes. But you also mentioned Jaden Daniels before we move on. You mentioned Jaden Daniels. I think that he's another guy we should be looking out for. He is. I think he can be electric. I said on a past episode, I don't know if Dan Quinn's going to be the coach that can really usher him into this league the way that he should be. But if he can, right? If he can, I know they also have Cliff Kingsbury. He's coached a lot of electric quarterbacks in the past. I think that they may have a chance to make some noise if Jaden Daniels can come out swinging. But he's another guy I'm looking very closely at.
Yeah, I do like Jaden Daniels as an LSU fan. I wish him the best. And you got to think about Terry, Dotson, um, Brian Robinson. They got Austin Eckler as well. I mean, he'll be there for the checkdowns. That will be fun. It'll be fun to watch this team. My only problem is Emmanuel Forbes, their first round pick last year, who has been just barbecue chicken since he got drafted. Hopefully, he can turn it around. Boss says, "Yeah, hell to the Commanders. Yeah, second teams right here, you guys, the Commanders."
Yeah,
And we get to see him live in person on October 13th, which I would love to go to that game. I'm going to try to go to that game.
yeah,
But our friends down the road now, Boz brought up going back to the Ravens and Eagles. It's going to be Josh Johnson against Kenny Pickett tomorrow. Yes, Kenny Pickett
yes, it
is
is.
the backup for the Eagles. So a former old foe of ours we'll get to see again.
Indeed, indeed. I just want to ask you really quick. I think that week one matchup for the Commanders against the Buccaneers in Tampa, I think that that's a very good litmus tests for a team like the Commanders. With a rookie quarterback, a team that's kind of still in the process of rebuilding. It's a very good test, right out the gate. It's not too tough of an opponent, but not too easy of an opponent either. And I think that's it's a good test. Who do you think wins that game?
I'm gonna go Bucks in a close one. Baker's
Mm,
gonna show you why I got that money, but I'm gonna go like a game-winning drive field goal is what wins it for the Bucks. But it'll be a really close game, I think. The
yeah,
Commanders will be fighting for that one.
they will. They will. I think that they lose that one too. I think by a narrow margin, just like you said. But I think that Jaden Daniels impresses people. I think that he shows some things. He makes a couple mistakes, but he shows some electric tendencies, for lack of better words. And I think that we have a lot to look forward to when looking at quarterbacks like him and Caleb Williams. But we'll see. All right, but enough of that. I think we'll go ahead and we'll wrap there. 55 minutes into this episode 255 of the Purple Rain podcast. Hit the nail on the head there. I like that. All right. So, as we do before we get out of here every time, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def. As a matter of fact, if you're watching this on X, you're probably watching this from my page. I just thought about that. So,
Ooh,
yeah, follow me.
him.
Maybe follow me. Yeah. And then on X, you can find this guy at simplyas10 or on Instagram as simplyas10.prod or pretty much anywhere at simplyas10. Check him out on TikTok. It's got a lot of cool stuff going on TikTok. I know that the season's about to start too, so I'll be looking forward to when you do post more on there. Okay, and then also, like he led the episode with, you can go on manscaped.com. You want to get yourself looking nice and clean, like our guy Simply AS10. You can go on Manscaped, put in our code PRP, save yourself 20% off, plus free international shipping. So that's right, we do have viewers who watch from the United States, from United Kingdom, from Asia, from
Hello.
Germany, from all sorts of places around the world. Listen, man, India, everywhere. So shout out to you guys. If you want to go on manscaped.com and get yourself something nice, you can use our code PRP, 20% off. That's on us. Okay. We love all you guys. Season's right around the corner. We got Ravens football officially tomorrow. Season's going to be starting in about a month here. So make sure you stay locked in to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel as well for much more content coming down the pipeline in the future. My name is Sutton Def. And with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Yes. Thank you all for coming through to episode 255 of the Purple Rain Podcast. This time tomorrow, Ravens football will be kicked off. It'll probably be the first quarter. So just think about that. Hope you have a fantastic, safe and healthy weekend. Stay dry out there because it's supposed to rain. But as always, stay positive, test negative.
Yes, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. This has been episode 255 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.